Hey, happy Sunday everybody. So this week's video, I'm going to chat about my weekly weigh-in. I'll let you know how I've done this week. So let's get straight into that. Not what I wanted this week. I'm not upset, I would say that's the wrong word. Gutted is the word that I would use. Disappointed. I am at an 88-pound weight loss currently, which is just beyond my wildest dreams actually, that I ever would have got to there. It says on my feed last week that I lost 87 pounds so far, but I hadn't updated it to the pound that I lost last week. So it was I'm actually at 88 pounds. So I am so close to my 90 pounds. I just can't even tell you how excited I am to get there. And I've changed my weighing day from a Sunday, which it normally does, to a Saturday, so that I can get this video filmed for you guys and out on a Sunday. And excited, got up in the morning, stepped on the scales, and I've gone up a pound. Now, I know with every being in my body that I have not gained a pound in fat. I know that without a doubt. I know I've been healthy all week. I know I've eaten the right amount of calories. I don't undereat, because the last thing I want to do, which is something that I've done for years and years and years, is eat too lower calories. That is not what I do. No, I do take the medicated weight loss Mounjaro. I do not undereat. I make a conscious effort to eat proper amount of calories every day. So I know that I haven't gained a pound in fat, and I know that it is water retention. I know that deprived sleep has a lot to do with how our bodies work and holds on to weight. So all of that has contributed to me standing on those scales this morning and it's saying I've gone up a pound. And for a good 5 or 10 minutes, I would say, my mind went back into that overdrive. So I've been on my journey over about 2.5 years now, a year of it without the medicated weight loss. And it really proves, doesn't it, that I'm that person since her very early 20s that have had my life literally ruled by what those scales say. And it is so deeply embedded in my brain that what the scales say is the truth, and that's how I should reflect myself. That it's quite scary actually, that after these 2.5 years I can step on there. Last week I think it was a stay the same. I lost a pound last week, and then I step on the scales this week and I've gone up a pound, even though I know I haven't gone up a pound in fat. I absolutely know that. My brain still hangs on to what it did in the 80s, and that's a worry actually. And then you have to pull yourself together and come in today's mindset, which 90% of the time I'm in today's mindset, but that 10% is still there and still needs me to work on it. And I think, if I'm honest with myself, I think I'm probably going to have to work on that for the rest of my life. I will be very surprised if I completely eradicate that 10%, the scales rule. I mean, I weighed in, and I won't lie, I weighed in, had my shower, I got on the scales again. And before I knew it, I must have jumped on those scales 6, 7, maybe even 8 times this morning. And of course they didn't change, but I was hoping they would. And I thought, whoa, Jane, you really need to be careful here. Come off them, don't go back on them again until next Saturday. Because there I was going down that slippery path again. And for me, it's not just about what those scales say, it's really been a mental journey for me. So I would say that if you guys out there in that same situation, because I'm sure there's a lot of you that are, we're all experiencing the same things, aren't we? For me as well, one of the things that I thought about this morning is I self-fund my Mounjaro. Although when I started my journey, my BMI was, I can't believe it was this high, I'm so embarrassed, but it was 46.6. So and you have to have it over 30. So I was sky high on my BMI, entitled to have some help really, but I didn't have anything else wrong with me, which is a good thing, because obviously I didn't want to have diabetes, I didn't want to have a heart condition, and all the other things that, you know, I didn't want a thyroid condition and all these things that we can have that allow us to have that on the NHS. I wasn't entitled to. So I do fund it, and then you start doubting that you're spending all that money, and actually would it be any different if I wasn't on the medicated weight loss? But I know that it has been a complete and utter life changer, game changer, absolutely everything for me. So again, once I've got off the scales for the 8th time, reset my brain again, and I'm smiling again, and that's okay. But you do have those doubts creep into your brain, and proves I'm human, I suppose, doesn't it? And I'm sure that there are people out there, and some of you guys probably have the same questions. So I'd be really interested, actually, if you're experiencing any of this and your scales plateau, or you're concerned about if it's worth spending the money on the medicated weight loss, and just all your questions really. I'd really be interested, because I'm sure if you share them, we're all experiencing the same. Anyway, so that's really about my weight this week. Have a lovely week, have a lovely weekend, and I will see you all again on Wednesday. Bye guys. Remember, be kind to yourself, most importantly, and be kind to others. Bye bye guys.